Hey, Weird War Weirdos, it's Brian. It's a Sunday, a sunny Sunday. It's funny, I quit work early today because it's raining. The minute I quit, come home and put my shoes off, I relax, fucking sun comes out. It's like, what the fuck? Craziness. Okay, so today, guys, we're gonna do a little something different. Okay, someone was asking me the other day about how I come about, like, you know, coming up with stories or missions or whatnot for my Weird War II, right? And we've got an ongoing campaign going on right now. So what we're doing is that we want to let me make sure we're all here. Like, so what we're gonna do is okay. So I'm gonna with you today. I'm gonna start writing a campaign list of our Weird World War II adventure. Okay, and we are gonna our alternative Weird World War II world. And we're gonna start in 1930. Okay, that's just a nice round number. That's when things started to change for the world for the most part. Lots of rebellion, lots of new ideas, lots of new thought in the world. People fighting for their freedoms. The colonial powers are still grabbing on, trying to keep a hold of their colonial, holdings after World War One. So it's a good place to jump into the Weird World War II alternate reality. Okay, so this is what I do, guys. So what I'm doing, I'm not super tech here, right? So I could probably show you my screen or something like that. And we may have a buddy come and hang out with. We might have Adam from Wargaming China, which is fucking awesome. Awesome channel. Motherfucker is the authority on the Chinese war against the Japanese from 1930 to whatever. I can't remember what he called it. But basically, it's the Sino-Japanese War and before and some after. So it's pretty good. I think it starts roughly the Warlord era to the end of World War II. The guys mastered all that shit. So you should check it out. I think he might swing by, hang out with us, and maybe partake in some of my troubleshooting craziness. Sorry about the noise, guys. There's my fucking neighbors mowing the lawn, and I have my window open because I'm venting the room because I'm printing. Okay. So anyway, okay. So this is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna brainstorm, and I want you guys, my fellow Weird War weirdos, right, to partake. Feel free to come in and give me your shit. Let me see if this is working right. Overlay. What does this do? There we go. Let's see. I'm trying to. I had my whole restream thing set up already, and I was paying money. I was paying like $20. Hey, there he is, Adam. What's up, buddy? Everybody, Adam from Wargaming China, master of the history. Hey, just Lafiva's in the house too. We got Adam's down in fucking the bottom of the planet, which is Australia, and it's like winter there. I guess it's turning into what? I guess it's fall or it's winter, full blown winter. I guess. And HS is up in Alaska, so they're like totally opposite on the fucking planet. And look, they're interacting with each other. Fucking technology, I'm telling you. Look at that cat. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so today what we're gonna do, if you missed, we're gonna put together my Weird World War II campaign, okay, and how I go about coming up with stories and coming up with making things weird. Okay, it's fall. Okay, So it's fall down on the bottom, on the acid of the world. It's starting to get warm here. It's spring here, dude, and it's starting to get warm, and yeah, lots of rain and fucking crazy weather. It's like hot and then it's cold, and we had this crazy windstorm for like weeks, and it was nuts. But we'll jump back to and then HS. You're familiar with the history, and I know fucking Adam, and he's that's one cool thing about Adam is he's familiar with Asian history, or at least China, right? Which is sorely lacking in American or even Western studies. And he has a great concept of why that is. Cultural differences, language barriers, just all sorts of shit. And it really makes sense that why a lot of Westerners don't know much about Asian history, because it's just so diverse, it's so alien or foreign. So anyway, but what we're going to do is with you guys like you in the mix, it should be fun. We're going to start writing my Weird World War II campaign starting in 1930. Okay, so what I do, and you guys can follow along. I think I can show you my screen here. Let me see here. I don't know if I'll show you my screen because I got all sorts of crazy shit on my screen. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you guys a link in the comments, okay? So you guys can follow along. This is going to be all it is, guys. And again, I know this isn't like heavy hardcore history because I'm going to Wikipedia, okay? Now, Wikipedia is a great resource for basic general knowledge, okay? I'm not saying it's the go-to end-all place to check out for like really detailed historical facts and figures and whatnot, but it's a good place to start. Okay, it's like it'd be like the gold key book of world history, or I think what did the Commonwealth have? They had like the birds guides or something like that, of like astrophysics, just kind of like dumbed down books, and just to give you general knowledge of what's happening. Okay, so we're going to jump into it. So you guys, if you guys want to follow along, we are the link is right there. Check it out. Jump in there and look at what we're looking at. Okay, so what I'm looking at here. There you go. It's madness. 1930s, man. The 1930s was really a decade of influx, man. It's like you're in between the wars. You got political ideals. You got countries trying to rebuild from World War I. You got the colonies still, the colonial powers still fighting for their fucking colonies. Everything's been relabeled after World War I. You got indigenous peoples fighting back against their colonial overlords, and it's pretty in flux. Okay, so what we're looking at here. And all it does, basically you type in the year that you want to check out, 1930, Wikipedia, and it takes you to 1930, and it's about fucking 5 pages of all the different calendars, all these different foreign calendars, and all sorts of great. But when you get down to the events, now these are like just some major events that happen in the time frame, okay? And it's it's a great way to really get sucked into history, guys. Okay, and perfect example. We're gonna shoot off the very first listing. Okay, January 15th, 1930. Okay, I've been making notes here anyway. So it says here on January 15th, the moon moves into its nearest point to Earth, called the perigee, at the same time as its fullest phase of the lunar cycle. This is the closest moon distance at 221,455 miles, or 356,397 kilometers to the planet. In recent history, this one will be January 1st in 2257. Okay, so, in my weird war mind, I'm sitting here. I'm like, that event is just the moon is closest to the Earth in like a long fucking time. So here we go. You got prophecies and oracles, and you got, whatever. because the moon is so close, you can come up with all sorts of supernatural crazy shit. So what I did is I was thinking, I've already got this one. This one's already planned out, ready to rock. Me and Mel just got to play it. Okay. So what it is because I've infused the H.P. Lovecraft mythos in my Weird World War II gaming, because it's free and everybody else does it, and it's fucking cool. Okay. There's a race of creatures called the moon beasts. Okay. Now they normally reside on the planet, on the moon, right? But in the dreamlands, that's like another dimension in the Cthulhu mythos, right? And they normally just interact with humans when humans are asleep. That's when the humans can interact with the dreamland. Okay. Well, what in my weirdness, I'm sitting here. Okay, so at this date, the moon is the closest it has been to Earth in forever long. So I'm thinking the membrane between that dimension is thin. Okay, and the moon beasts are like prolific slavers. They love enslaving humans. And they love gold. They love like bits and baubles. They love gold, and they pay. They pay. What do they pay? I forgot how they pay. They paid in some sort of jewels that they moon on the moon, right? Or they ore on the moon. Now they have a slave race that they've enslaved called the Men of Ling. Okay, and they're basically, they look like satyrs, like the Greek mythology satyrs. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. My first mission. January 1st is going to be a moon beast raid, slave raid on Earth. Because again, the membrane, because the moon is so close to the Earth, the membrane between that dimension, the dreamlands and the real world, is so thin that the moon beasts are able to penetrate it. And what they're going to do is they're going to do slave raids all across the planet. Okay. So what we're doing here is we're going to do just a small skirmish battle. And what we do is, because I have it all painted, I have a bunch of I got a bunch of Chinese and Asian civilians painted. Got a bunch of Asian terrain painted. So what this is going to happen? This is going to be a attack in China. Okay. So what I've got already is I've got a couple moon beasts, and I'll show you guys this stuff because it's right here. I just need to play it out. So these are the moon beasts, and you can get on Wikipedia and look up moon beast. Okay, so this is what the moon beast looks like. They're weird looking whatevers. They enslave people because they get the slaves to mine their shit and build their houses and rub their feet, and they eat them too. So there you go. So they're just all around colonial bastards. Okay, so I got a couple moon beasts here, and I got some satyr kind of people. These are reapers. These are just some female satyrs from Reaper. And then we got a male satyr from Reaper, which will be in a pinch. Those will be your men of Ling, okay, in a pinch. So, that's what's cool about Weird World War II. You can do whatever the fuck you want, right? There's no, historical accuracy of what the fucking moon beast looks like. You know what I mean? So, Osprey doesn't make a book on the moon beasts. Let's see, Omnivision tech. That's it. Plus it's a hit, yeah. That's true. That's true. It's not quite April Fool's yet. Not quite. Now, what I do is what the mission is going to be. It's just going to be a slave raid. It's going to be that group of moon beasts and men of Ling. They're going to have some sort of portal that they're able to gain access to, Earth. And the mission is going to be, there's going to be a small village. The bad guys come to try to, they're not trying to kill any of the civilians because they want to enslave them. They're going to grab them all. Hey, Tiki, what's up, dude? Good. I'm glad you're here, man. We're doing some cool Weird War campaign idea, dream world building. You're going to love it, dude. So the Moon Beast and his crew, they're going to come and enslave these people and take them back to the moon. And by happenstance, there's a patrol of a KMT, which is the Chinese Republic, whatever the fuck. I can't say that. Kamen Tamatang. I can't fuck it. But basically, I got a squad of Chinese. They're doing their normal patrol in the area, and they run across Moon Beast trying to kidnap all these people. So there you go. Boom. First mission, we got it. January 1st. All right, January 15th, 1930, the moon's closest to the Earth. Moon beasts are coming, steal a bunch of people. Chinese patrol going to try to stop them. Okay, there we go. So we got a cool ass little just cool weird war skirmish that has no heavy fucking implications, in further games down the road. It could be like, the first interaction that people like humans have interacted with the moon beasts. Maybe, some survivor, whatever we can come up. But it'd be just a quick skirmish game. Okay. Ming, that's right. He's like, some moon beast is on the moon. Is like, I'm bored, Clytus. Give me something to play with. Earth. This is a planet called Earth. I love that fucking movie. I saw that in the theater. Woo! Man, I was like screaming and yelling. Okay. So again, go to the link if you guys want to follow along. Okay. So the next event that, and then you got stuff like, on the 26th, the Indian National Congress declares the date of independence. Okay. Now these are heavy fucking things, guys, but you can't really war game these too much, right? So there's a lot of this stuff that you can't, it's interesting. And look, again, this is a perfect example of why Weird War is great, because you're trying to like weirdify your historical timeline, and guess what? You start reading about the true historical timeline and how you can bend it and break it and fuck it. Okay, so, and I've read all this shit. I mean, just from like I'm sitting in the car waiting for a offer to pop up. I'm reading on my phone like the fucking like the patent of a field effect transistor. I'm just like, what the fuck? But yeah, so we go down a little bit, and the 30th, you got Radio Sodone, whatever that is. I'm not sure what that is. But this is the next big thing, okay? So February 10th, 1930, okay, or French Indochina at that moment, okay? We got the Bai Mutiny, okay? Guys, I fucking read about the Bai Mutiny. The Bai Mutiny. It is fucking fantastic. It is rife for fucking weird warfication, okay? So in the true historical sense, okay, what happens is the French have, since like the late 1800s, they've basically taken over fucking Vietnam. Sorry. So, it's a colonial power now. Vietnam is a colony administered by the French. And there's, of course, there's going to be Vietnamese that ain't down with that shit. So there's going to be an uprising here, okay? So what they do is they plan to have they're kind of centered that there's a political party. Let me tell you what it's called. I can't remember what it's called. I got all this written down, but the Vietnam Quo Don Dang, which is like a political party, like Free Vietnam, basically is what it is. Okay. And they have a plan to do like a mutiny in the north of the country. And they're hoping that they can turn all the French Vietnamese colonial troops to their cause and help with the attack or whatever. Now, in the reality, what happens, this is fucking bonkers, guys. Because I've read it all. I mean, and this is how weird war sucks you in, is like, you're like, what is this, Bai Mutiny? And you start reading it and you're like, what the fuck? Because I've never even heard of that shit, right? Start reading about it. It's fucking phenomenal. It's like your classic, underdog trying to overthrow the colonial overlord, and but what happens in the reality is that like basically the revolutionary government, one of the guys in it, the fucking basically the Minister of Defense, is a turncoat. He's a fucking traitor. Well, and he gives it up like to the French. So the French are prepared when this mutiny happens, right? They kind of spread out their colonial troops, so there's no big group of Vietnamese colonial troops together, and all this shit. And then they attack and they kill most of the ringleaders. But anyway, so in my Weird World War II, and I've already did a big thing here on my list here, number 2, okay, 2/10/30. We've got the Bai Mutiny. Okay, now. And again, and this is just the stuff that I've done, guys. I haven't done a whole lot of 1930, but we'll go through what I've done. So, in my thinking, trying to be weird here, because I don't want to just play out the mutiny. That'd be cool just to play out the mutiny just for fun, right? So, I'm sitting here. Well, how can I weirdify this, right? Because I want to get some weird war, fucking Asian shit in there, right? So I start thinking about, and I go and I'm looking on the internet, and I'm looking up traditional uh, uh, Vietnamese mythical monsters and creatures, right? And I can't find a whole lot, but there's some pops up, right? And I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's cool. So there's a creature called the nine-tailed fox, okay, and it's like it's kind of like a mischievous creature, and it's really powerful. The older it gets super powerful, right? And then when I think it's 1,000 years, it's becomes celestial fox and it ascends into heaven or whatever, right? But I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, that's a cool creature, and that kind of fox, the fox thing, kind of translates throughout all of Asia, right? And what's cool about a lot of these myths and folklores is although they're different, let's say in Vietnam, it's one thing, but in China, it might be the same look creature, or let's say Japan, they have the kitsune, right? Which isn't the nine-tailed fox, but they're kind of the same. The nine-tailed fox, the older it is, the more powerful it is. It can polymorph into people. It plays tricks. It can be malevolent. It can be benevolent. It can be. But what I'm thinking here is like, how can I insert this creature into this whole Bai Mutiny, right? Let's see what HS said. The British Empire offers salt substitute for cheap. That's true. Gandhi does his trek. Gandhi does his trek to protest the salt ban in India. See, I saw Gandhi, the movie. I don't remember, but it was in that movie. But just researching on how to fucking make some cool weird war missions, you come across real world shit, and it's cool. Hey, Raven, what's up, girl? So the nine-tailed fox, right? So I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, okay, so I'm thinking, this is what I came up with, okay? So the French colonial leader, which I can't remember his name, I wrote it down, I don't remember what his name. He's out hunting. I just made up he's a fucking hunter or whatever, right? And they come across a nine-tailed fox. They escape. It's trapped or whatever. And he's mesmerized by it, right? And he's like, oh my God, this would be a great trophy, right? And the Vietnamese guides are saying, no, sir, no, you can't. This is a sacred being. This is a sacred animal, whatever, right? And he's like, go to hell, and he kills it, okay. And this ends up being, and what he wants to do is he wants to take it back home, to Hanoi and stuff it and have it as a trophy, right? Not understanding the implications of his actions, okay? Because he's a Frenchman. He's not Vietnamese. Okay, so he kills this nine-tailed fox. Well, it's an ancient being, it's super powerful, but he was able to kill it. So what happens is I'm thinking, okay, we're going to say the nine-tailed fox, okay, and they see their parent or their brother killed. So what happens is that this enclave, this small group of nine-tailed foxes, varying in degree of age, so some are really weak because they're young, and some are more powerful. Except the big guy got killed, so the super powerful one isn't there. So you got some lesser power. So what that'll do is we've got a weird war element, supernatural element, but it's hamstrung by the mythology because they're young, right? So there you go. So what I'm thinking is like these foxes, these nine-tailed foxes, they say, they're angry at the French and these strangers to their land. So what they do is they team up with this Vietnamese, revolutionary group. They say, we will help you to oust the French out. Okay. And there you go. We got the basis of an excellent weird World War II or weird war campaign. Okay. And what I've got here is, in the reading of the Bai, just on this Wikipedia. Again, Raven, if you want to swing by Wikipedia, we got a link there. You can follow along. If you go to the Bai, it tells you the whole story. And again, this is just general, but I know about it, and it's a very interesting interaction that I've never fucking heard of. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that. We're going to do a campaign. So and I have, let's see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got about 8 missions already planned out for the initial assault. The 8 different cities and major points. Like let's see. Minbai, the Minbai garrison. We got Bach Mai airfield attack. Then we got Nam Ding, Lang Sun, Hap Hong, Bac Ni, Mong Ka. And there's going to be a Hanoi assassination because this revolutionary group were strong in the north, but they're weak everywhere else, right? So what I was thinking is maybe one of the foxes and maybe just like one of the good, like really great fighters goes into Hanoi, infiltrates Hanoi, and they try to assassinate this this French colonial magistrate for his transgressions against the Nine Foxes and the people of Vietnam. Okay, so that'd be fun. That'd be a cool like covert game. It'll be that should be a lot of fun. Okay. Yeah, rubber plantation. Yeah, from Heart of Darkness or Apocalypse Now. That was a cool scene. That sucked that they cut out the French aspect of that movie. If you guys have not seen the director's cut of Apocalypse Now, watch it because some great shit that got cut out. Yeah, no shit. Start eating them. So there we go. We got a basis of a great campaign. So next is like, okay, shit. Where do I find colonial Vietnamese troops and like Asian colonial like French? I found them, baby. That's what's so fantastic about the interweb. Hey, Nick. Hey, everybody. Nick from British Legion's on board. What's up, buddy? Nick, we're just going through here talking about putting together a Weird War II timeline for 1930. Okay. So I did find a French guy on he makes STLs of colonial French shit, right? So I've got, let me see if I can, I'll just probably tilt the camera here. That right there is a full platoon of Vietnamese revolutionaries in French, French uniforms. But let me see if I can let me pull out a couple so you can just check them out. This is all resin, guys. There you go. There's a Vietnamese soldier. French kit, French weapons, but the Vietnamese, they got their signature little hats. Pretty cool. And I got platoon. So I got rifle grenadiers, I got light machine guns, I got heavy machine guns, I got officers, troops. Let me show you. I even got a ammunition mule. Look at that little cutie. Look at that cutie. Look at that guy carrying some magazines with him. Let me show you the heavy. Here's the heavy MG. I'm not even sure what that fucking. It's some sort of. Is that a Hotchkiss something or other? It's a belt. It's a strip fed. I didn't know that. I'm not familiar with early war like French stuff. They're not. Whatever. Metal. I love metal minis, man, but this thing's gonna be weird. This camera. So if it gets blurry, it should focus back in. I don't know if you guys want to see my ugly mug. Anyway, so I got a platoon of Vietnamese. Okay. Colonial troops that turn. Then I also got a platoon of actual French troops. Okay, with their little what are the weird helmets they wore? Not the Brodies, but whatever it is. So yeah, so I've got it done. Got the opposing forces. I got two squads of Vietnamese colonial French troops. So they have the little whatever the Vietnam hat thing is in the French on if you see an anchor on a helmet that means it's a French colonial troop. Okay, now if you see like a little grenade on it, that means French infantry. See, shit, I didn't fucking know that. I thought that meant like engineers and shit, right? But again, researching for Weird War, I discovered, the designation of what those weird French, iconry is, right? So there you go. Now you guys learned something. If it's an anchor, it's a little anchor, it's colonial troop, and if it's got like a grenade, that's just like French infantry. Okay, so there you go. So we got a basis of doing our mutiny, right? So I've got some because I print the hell out of stuff. There's unlucky for the Vietnamese, there are some French supers in the mix. So guys, this is no specific super. This is just some, I don't know what this is. It looks cool as fuck. So I'm gonna just make it some sort of French superhero. Here's a female one right there. She got big. She gotta got big. This is a weird war, man. They gotta have big boobs. I'm sorry. There you go. So we got a couple French supers in country. So that's rough because not sure what kind of powers I'm gonna give them. But that's what's fucking makes shit great, dude. Is because you can just make up whatever the hell you want. And maybe this guy can laser blast like Homelander from the boys, or maybe he can fly, or I don't know. So that's true. This is 1930 HS. We're not quite lots of. I mean, there'll be Germans from like World War One, there as British Legion guys, but we're still in 1930, so stay here. Let's not get too far ahead. Okay. So I got the troops. Now I'm sitting here. Captain Baguette. There you go. He like shoots at baguettes. And he's got like a power French bread loaf. See, that's a little too weird, even for Weird World War II. Okay. Now, found some STLs of some. I found one nine-tailed fox, but it didn't look. It was like an STL of like an old painting of one. It didn't look good. But I found some kitsune like fantasy figures that'll work. So I've got a couple kitsune or nine-tailed fox in their human form fighting for the French. Now, doing my research on the French creatures and shit, man, I found some fucking bonker one. There's just one. Can't remember the hell. Let me see if I wrote it down. You're gonna love this fucking. If you guys watch my latest shit on my table, you'll know what I'm talking about. I can't remember what it was called. I think it's the my in Bing or something. Oh fuck. Oh, let me check. I got it written down on my other computer. I got two laptops running here. That's how high tech we are here. Sorry, it's blurry, guys. It's just the shit I got. And sorry for the lawnmower action. My neighbors mowing their lawn while I'm trying to do this shit. I already mowed the lawn. Suckers. All right, let me remember what this damn thing was called. Anyway, I can't remember what it's called. But basically, it's a creature. Okay, so it's a female. They take. It's not the Rogaru. It's not that one. But I have one of those. So let me show you the creature. That's how the old lady with massive saggy tits, and she lives in the trees. Hey, Vietnam folklore. She lives in the trees, and she entices wary travelers at night to suckle her tits, her milk from her boobs, and then she eats her face off. I could not fucking make that shit up myself. That is real Vietnamese folklore, mythology. Now, it's funny because the Japanese have something similar, right? But she doesn't eat your face off. What happens is she steals the children. She had big old saggy tits, whatever. She steals the children of parents who aren't good parents. So she basically kidnaps the kids and she raises them as their own, right? And takes care of them and will release them back to the bad parents when they stop being bad parents. It's the same fucking creature. Looks the same, but they just have different functions. That's what I'm talking about. That's what makes things so great, is that although these cultures have similar myths, they're different. Yeah, let's keep it. I get painted blue. Give it a nose ring right there. So I got a couple of them actually. So now we got a couple weird war creatures to stock both, Maybe the nine-tailed foxes convinced these creatures to fight for the Vietnamese, or maybe they were just out for their own. They just want their nipples, suckled and eating some faces. There you go. So I got some Weird War element monsters that might pop out of nowhere and. So there we go. So that printed, done. Got it. Now, depending on how the battles turn out, if they turn out good, right? Maybe Indochina, French Indochina, Vietnam area. The north of it becomes, breakaway, and the south, the French, reinforce the south, and it almost becomes like a Vietnam War kind of thing, or a Korea kind of thing, where the two different sides are competing against each other. So it should be a lot of fun, and we can play it out and see what happens, and we can, who knows? Maybe the French will be able to just slaughter these guys, or maybe the Vietnamese revolutionaries will take hold, and their message will spread across the country and free Vietnam altogether. So there you go. We are changing history, Weird World War II style. All right, so let's go to the next thing. All right, so what we got next one is pretty cool. I wrote this just yesterday. Okay, so 18th. Okay, Clyde Tombaugh confirms the existence of Pluto. Okay, so he's pretty mild mannered. I read about this guy. Pretty cool dude, right? And when they changed it, his widow said, when they said it wasn't a planet but a planetoid, his widow said he would have been cool with it. He was a scientist, that's how it throw down. That's all cool. So I'm sitting here, and again, being having the Cthulhu mythos in heavily entrenched in Weird World War II. Guess who lives on Pluto? It's also called what's it called? Yagath? Not Yagath. Yagath. The Migo. The fungi from Yagath. Okay, so the Migo are a pretty cool looking creature. Prevalent in in my brain, my Weird War brain, I'm sitting here. I'm like, okay, so what if the Migo don't want the humans to know that Pluto's there, right? So I came up with a story where this Clyde is sitting at home and just chilling, and he gets a knock on the door, and there's a couple guys, and one of them's really beat up, right? And they push themselves in the door, and they're like, "We got to get you out of here. They're on their way." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And then before he can explain, there's a Migo attack to try to kill this guy, to silence him. So I thought, because I didn't want to go too heavy, like a big story, I'm saying this is kind of the ass end of like a Call of Cthulhu role-playing adventure. Let's say these two guys that show up at this guy's house discover the Migo's plan to kill him, to keep him quiet, to try to scrub Pluto, at least give them a chance. Maybe they're coming up with a way to hide it or something. So, but these Cthulhu investigators stumbled across, killed most of the Migo, and destroyed their plan. Except, let's say, one or two Migo escape, and they're en route to kill good old Clyde, right? Silence him, destroy his information in his research, and then there you go. We got another small skirmish, February 18th, with good old Clyde. We can come up with a cool, we can say, Professor, hey, Orc, what's up? Oh yeah, I saw. I was looking up some like minis, right? And I saw that like Weird War conversion kit from War Games Atlantic. It's like little like tentacles and ratmen. Yeah, I've seen it. I just saw that today, just before I got online. I was like, what the hell? That's wild. Okay, so there we go. We got a small skirmish game where two Migo, because Migos are pretty tough. Because if you read about what the Migo are like, they're real smart, and they suck out people's brains and put them in jars, and they're fucking crazy. And they can interstellar travel, like they just fly off Pluto and fly to Earth. So that doesn't help mankind very much when bad guys can just fly from their planet with their wings and fly to attack your ass. So whatever. So, but that'd be a cool little skirmish. Will Clyde survive? You know, will these investigators, maybe they've ascertained some hidden knowledge or some weakness that the Amigos have, and maybe they have a weapon that they in the mission that in a previous mission that we're not going to do. You know, they've come some sort of artifact that'll help out. So there you go. We got some badass, you know, what they call it, Deus Machina, some just widget or something that turns everything tits up. There you go. Who knows? It'll be fun. So there we go. So that's what I got. Another interesting. Okay, so this guy's in Arizona. So there we go. We can have probably more than likely. I was thinking about just having like probably just like get my old ChessX grid map and just draw like a house, this guy's house, and we'll just do like, you know, attack the house. We'll do a cool little old school pen and paper. We got Migo attacking. Good old Clyde. I'm not sure if Clyde was married at that time. I don't think he was. He's pretty young when this happened. But we got some investigators fighting him off. We'll see what happens. Maybe the cops show up and the Migo eat their fucking faces, or maybe they help. Who knows? Should be a lot of fun. So we got that. So that's easy. See, just have that bean. Don't, you know, look, guys. One thing. Now, again, I love history. You know, that's a big thing. I fucking love history. And I love reading about history. And me trying to come up with ideas just on the spot on crazy shit like this is so much fun. Because I love, like, oh, yeah, maybe I can just insert this here and maybe we can change this and change this entire fucking outlook. And it gets you involved in history. And it's unfortunate that a lot of gamers, you know, and look, and maybe they just want to game. They don't want this heavy fucking research. They just want to roll dice, paint their figures, and play, right? But, you know, I think, you know, modern gamers, to me, and again, if I offend you, I'm not offended. I'm not sorry, but it's just how I fucking feel. I think they're spoon-fed on how to play and what to play, right? I think real gamers, what they do is they find a system that they resonate with. And we all start somewhere, guys. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about someone that's been playing for 20 years. I'm talking about a guy who just started. You know, of course he's going to be, you know, fed on how to play because he's new to it, right? He's new to it. But it's up to us, the old grognards, the old, you know, crazy nuts, to say, hey, you know, there's other shit out there. Don't fucking follow these corporate assholes on how to fucking game. Game it yourself. Game it how you want to game. Find that mechanic that you like. You know, make it your own. You know, come up with your own shit. You know, find that group of guys and gals that you fucking love gaming with, and have fun. You know, stop buying the newest fucking codex. A money. It's a waste. You know, I'm a rules guy. I love rules. If I find a rule that I like, I'll put it into my own system. You know, I'm not saying, but you know, it's just like if you're a big fan of something and they change the edition on you, there's no reason why you can't just keep playing the edition that you love. Don't fall for this fucking new edition shit. It's bullshit. It's just marketing, man. Just make it your own. Make these games memorable. You know what I mean? You know, fuck these point costs. You know, these point values. Come up with a stop with good old Clyde. Needs some assistance from an Amigo attack. There you go. And just write some shit. Write some bullshit. Come up with your own thing, man. Those are the memorable games. Because you know why? You made them. You made them. You created it. You come up with the rules. You played it out. You guys are screaming, holy shit, what the fuck? You don't know what's going on. It's fantastic. But we've all fallen into this. This is how you play it. This is the mission. This is this widget, 3 inches from the left, 18 inches from the right is your objective. It's just ridiculous. It's dumb. It's just stale, sterile boring. I don't know. That's just me. But Brian, what's up, buddy? My little rant there. But make it your own, man. Make up this kind of, this shit is fun. I mean, I'm sitting here, we're in 1930 planet Earth. We're coming, you guys are learning shit, and we're making things weird. It's fantastic. All right, so let's go to the next thing. Again, guys, there's a link. We're following this Wikipedia entry, and we're just going down 1930 and coming up with cool fucking ideas and missions for our Weird War gaming. Okay, so now we got Clyde. I hope Clyde survives. You know, it's interesting because I read about Clyde and all his shit. So like, he was in this observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona for like ever until he got drafted in 1943. He got drafted into the Army for World War II. So in the timeline, what we can do is maybe he keeps his mouth closed if he survives. And then 1943, he opens up to the federal government about the MiGo, and maybe he becomes some sort of, like, he gets drafted into like some special group in the military to combat against the MiGo. There you go. And it's interesting because in 1948, he claims to have witnessed 3 UFOs, like triangle, like X-File looking UFOs flying around Flagstaff. Dude, talk about awesome, just happenstance. You know, we're creating a Weird War, you know, mission with the MiGo, and in his real life and later in his life, he actually sees a UFO. That's fucking awesome. It's just cool. It's just cool. All right, so we go through some other historical stuff that, you know, Mahatma Gandhi does his he says, hey, Brits, civil disobedience, go fuck yourself, which is awesome. Gandhi's awesome. And then Andre, whatever. Then we go International Unemployment Day. See, I didn't even know there was an International Unemployment Day. There you go. Oh, and look at this. The first frozen foods from Bird's Eye. If you guys aren't familiar with Bird's Eye, there used to be a huge like TV dinner company. So yeah. And then Mahatma Gandhi does his salt march, which is all. The Kara has name changes. Pray for Turkey coming up with their own shit. Okay, more political shit. Oh, the motion picture code comes into play in the U.S. Ooh, guidelines on the treatment of sex, crime, religion, and violence in film. Fucking prudes. They ruined it. All right, guys. Now we're getting to. We're in April now. Here we go. More Gandhi tearing it up. Tearing this shit up. There's a international left opposition in Paris. Oh, that could be interesting. Neoprene is invented by DuPont. So you didn't know that, did you? Neoprene wasn't even around until 1930. April 17, 1930. You guys just learned something today. Now, this is another one that I'm going to do. You guys might have to help me out with this. Okay. On April 18th, the Chittagong rebellion begins in India. Okay, so I read about this the other day. So what happens is there's a small revolutionary group in India who are planning to attack this Chittagong Armory and steal the weapons. And in that town, they're going to rob a couple banks, steal a bunch of money so they can put it to the revolution, all sorts of cool shit, right? And they're going to kill, I guess there's a European club. Like they were thinking that, but it happened to be Easter Sunday that day. So there weren't like any Europeans at the club. So they weren't able to like massacre or take hostage a bunch of Europeans. So that's talk about fucking bad luck right there. So I read about it. Interesting. They did it. They didn't do very well. They ran up into the hills, and then the fucking the British were like, "Ooh, that ain't gonna happen." All of Bod Hills happens, and they. But we can Weird War that bad boy. And what I'm trying to do also in my Weird War, and this is a historical timeline. I'm gonna try to have the commies be a little bit more prolific across the planet. Okay. Now they mention in this revolution, they kind of are swaying to the communist core values, right? That's true. Tesla's in play. Hey, nerd, what's up, girl? Good to see you. Hell yeah, Gandhi was a tax protester. That's what I'm talking about. Gandhi's the bomb. All right, anyway, so he looked pretty cool in that fucking toga, too. And he kicked the shit out of. He was kick ass in that Red Dwarf episode on what was it? Wax World. Gandhi was badass. Anyway, so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to kind of alter history a little bit. Okay, I'm going to say these guys are hardcore commies. Okay, so let's say if they succeed or not in this mission. So we got a mission here. We got a mission to attack the Armory. And let's say they win that skirmish, they get a bunch of weapons, ammunition, whatever, maybe some vehicles, some heavy weapons. They take it off to the hills. They rob the banks in that area. Got money, right? Shadow, what's up, buddy? So now we got money. Okay. Now let's just say they were having an Easter Sunday celebration at the European Club that day. Guess what? We either have high European death. There ain't a whole lot of them. There's probably like 50 of them. I think that's what it said. And the whole shit. If you kill a bunch of Brits, and their families, they're fucking coming for it, and they did. So there we go. We've got the basis for a possible a little small commie enclave, being created in India, a revolutionary group in India against the British, rule. Now this is the hard part, okay? And then plus it's a good example if we make it commie. I want to make the communists a political ideal in my Weird War that is a lot more powerful, a lot more spread out across the world. We want them to be a major player in certain areas in my Weird War campaign. I'm not saying you're the bad guys, but it's just another divergent communist. It's another divergent political ideal that we can use to alter our realistic historical timeline. Okay, so if let's say we get a powerful communist fucking enclave in India, then that'll give a reason for the Brits to balk when it comes to dealing with the commies, a reason to go against them, and then that'll be a reason for the communists to back this group, to hate the Brits because they're against these commies. It'd be great. It's a great catalyst to get you going into something crazy. There you go. See, nerds got it, girl. There could be some fucking. They think it's an armory. They think they bust in. They kill a bunch of guards. They bust in, and guess what? There's some weird golden ark sitting there. The hell is that? There you go. There you go. Or we went on cool fucking critter. They have god of commerce. There's some sort of totem that if you which Weird world. So with this, I Middle Eastern British, probably like Indian colonial British troops. But what I need to find is I need to find some. I can't. Oh, that's shit, man. Am I guys? I missed the other question. I don't even know how to go up on this thing, to be honest with you. Oh, here we go. Thanks, hey James. Good to see you, man. Hey, have a good day at work, and don't let those kids push you around, dude. They can't. You're like fucking 7 feet tall, and 7 feet tall in Japan. Shit, they might as well be 10 feet tall. Go get him. Go get him, Tiger. What? Yeah, 90% robot. Shit, that sucks. Yeah, I don't know. Closer side right now. Is that any better? Let me know if that's any better. I'll keep papers doing, and he's got like he's blowing off the street. Oh my god! You do fucking right. And you're making it all nice, and you're mowing and lawn, and it was all this bullshit in the fucking street. And guess what? All that shit into your yard or into your just madness. I don't get it. I don't know if that's happening. Is that happening to you guys where you're at? People are just shooting that shit into the fucking street. Crazy. Is it losing it again? Ah, shit. Let me know if that's any better, guys. Let me see if that's any better. Let me know if it sounds any better. I can try this other microphone here. Let me try this other microphone and see if it works. All right, so I'm on a different microphone. Is that any better? Let me know, Doc. Breaking up. Shit. La 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 la. Can you hear me try to sing? Sing. Sing. Fucking maddening, dude. Doc, fucking crazy. So the question to you: I need to find some 28 to 32 millimeter, like armed. 28 to 32 millimeter armed Indian like civilians, rebels, or some shits. Because I've got, again, I can get access to Indian, colonial troops and British troops at the time in 1930 British. That's like early World War II stuff, basically. They're like, desert gear, I would think. But I just, hell yeah, dial-up network. Let me try this other camera, guys. Let me see if this does any better. Let's see if that does any better. It could just be because I'm on Restream, right? Fuck. They're being attacked by the Russians right now or some shit. Let me know if it's a vial of. So in your travels, if you come across like Indian looking civilians that are armed, or Indian rebels, or they have guns, they relatively 20th century guns, not muskets and shit. Let me know, because I haven't really delved too deep into finding them yet, but I do need to find some Indian troops to use for this campaign. Okay, let's go on to the next one, guys. Okay, so we did our Chittagong Armory. Okay, so this is interesting. So April 21st, I read about this too. In April, or in Columbus, Ohio, a penitentiary caught on fire and killed like 320 prisoners. Okay, 320 fucking people burned to death, right? So
this is interesting because one of the reasons they think a lot of people died is because the military was the National Guard was responded, and they like cordoned off the whole prison, and I think they just kind of let everybody burn. But there, there was guards and shit in there too, and workers and stuff that burned down. So in my brain, I'm sitting here, and I'm thinking, that 320 people, that's a lot of fucking people, right? I mean, that's a lot of fucking people to be burned up in a modern prison setting, right? So that's got to be fucking weird in some way. So maybe we're talking, maybe some sort of super was imprisoned, some like firebug super. Maybe there was a some sort of prison breakout with a super present, like being used to extract some of the prisoners. Maybe they were just, the cover up will say that, they died in the fire, but in fact they were, whisked away by their supernatural, allies. Or it could be like a mythos kind of situation where, a fire vampire gets summoned by a prisoner or comes down, whatever the fuck. So I think that's an interesting it's an interesting event, and I think it's interesting enough to make a weird war a battle of it in some way. So if you have any suggestions, then I'll leave it to you guys, and you're right, it could be a diversion, maybe, in Columbus, in that that one artifact. Maybe there's some sort of scientific experiment going on at the time. Maybe there was just an individual that was in town that needed to be taken. Let's cause this shit blow up and catch on fire, and we'll snag Steve over here. It's true. You guys come up with some cool ideas on how we can make this Ohio penitentiary fire a weird war situation. I'm all down for some cool, mission ideas. That's true. It could be an offering. It could be an offering to some dark god or some power, or that's a great idea too. Kill a bunch of people. You bring forth, an army of Shoggoth or some shit. Who knows? That'd be pretty cool. That's a good idea. And maybe the reason the National Guard were dispatched is because they knew what was happening, and the only way to stop it was to burn it down. Because they couldn't. Maybe everybody turned into zombies. Who the fuck knows? So that's a good idea. You guys come up with some cool suggestions. Put them in the remarks, and we'll check that out and see the coolest one I'll do. I'll leave this one up to you guys. Okay. All right. So let's jump into the next one. Okay. So this is interesting. Okay. And on April 22nd, the UK, Japan, United States, Italy, and some other countries get together, and they have the London Naval Treaty. Okay. This is basically an arms reduction treaty that everybody was trying to get on, to try to everybody agree to not have an arms race after World War. It's interesting because I'm reading where submarines were no longer, like the large caliber submarines weren't being produced anymore. It was because of this meeting. So if you guys don't know, I believe the British and the French actually produced some submarines with like large bore cannon on it. I think the British one had like a, Jesus, I think the British had like a, I think the British had a 200 something millimeter like gun in the casemate, just pointing forward on the sub. And I think the French had one that had turreted like 155s on a sub. Oh man, that'd be fucking epic. Just if like U-boats are bad, fuck it. They don't need to torpedo your fucking convoy. They just surface, and they lay their their fucking 250 a 3 turreted 250 millimeter fucking cannon, and start blowing the shit out of your convoy. That's fucking great. See, I wouldn't have never knew. I didn't know there were fucking large bore weapons on submarines ever. I knew that the Germans in World War II, they converted a couple of their submarines into flak subs, right? They had like 3 or 4 like flak guns on the hull. And the reason they did that is like these flak subs would escort like the refueling ships and the supply ships. So when the submarines would meet with these supply ships, you'd have these submarines supporting them, against air attack. So that's pretty cool. You speak a merman, dude. You HS, me and you, we got like minds. Okay, so this is what I came up with in my Weird War world. Okay, so I have an army already. I just need to paint it. I have an army of Atlantis. There's 2 armies. Okay, I've got the army of Atlantis, the official army, which is Atlantis is ruled by the king or whatever. But the main character that's on this side is Aquaman. Okay, so you've got the Atlanteans that follow Aquaman and his crew. Okay, so you got that. Well, what I'm saying in my timeline is that there's actually a revolt going on in Atlantis right now, and that the other prince of Atlantis, which is Namor, not Namor, fuck that shit at Disney crap, it's Namor, the Submariner. He is producing, like, he's starting kind of like a rift, if not a revolution or a civil war in Atlantis right now. Okay, and if you guys ever read any like Namor, fucking comics or whatever. He's a hothead. Motherfucker he's a fucking hothead. He loves women he can't have, and the guy's a fucking dick. But anyway, he's around in the golden age. Okay, so and again, guys, I only play if they're copywritten characters. I only play with those kind of characters if they're in the time frame. So like the Shadow and the Phantom, and but I won't be doing like Deadpool or Spider-Man or the Teen Titans or whatever the fuck. I won't be doing any of that shit because they weren't around, right? But anyway, so what I was thinking is so Namor at this meeting, Namor's English, but his cronies don't, right? So he convinces them that this is a meeting with politicians of Atlantis for whatever bullshit, and they decide to do a raid. And he convinces some of his crew to go and do some sort of assassination raid against this treaty. Right? Surface people don't know what the fuck. They've never even seen the Atlanteans before, and all of a sudden you got like an elite Atlantean strike force. Not like a huge thing, but like like a squad of commandos come in, gonna murder all these motherfuckers, thinking that they're planning their demise with the Atlanteans, right? Because Namor wants to cause this rift. What he really wants to do is he wants to show to his people that the surface men killed their people. He's gonna make up some story like if they all get wasted. He said we sent envoys to speak with the surface, people, and they fucking murdered them all. This is what I'm talking about. His Namor's a bastard. I'm gonna make him a total bastard. So there you go. So, this meeting didn't really do anything. I think they agreed to submarines no more than 20 or 2,000 tons or some shit displacement or some bullshit. It didn't last. They did an arms race anyway. So. Mr. Limpet, but you gotta remember, Mr. Limpet wasn't created until like after the war in Europe has started. Come on, dude. This is 1930. HS, you're getting ahead again. Gotta reel it back. Gotta pull you back. Come on, man. Come back. You're going too far ahead. We're not quite there. If we're gonna keep Mr. Limpet, we gotta do it like historical. Because he's not. I don't think he's in play until 42 or 43. I could love that movie. I love Don Knotts in general. That guy is fucking epic. That weird his sounding woo, that honk sound or whatever, the echo, that was awesome. If you guys have not seen the incredible Mr. Limpet, put down whatever you're doing right this second, put your kids to sleep, give your wife the credit card, sit back and watch the incredible Mr. Limpet. Just chill. Watch some epic weird World War II right there. Epic. There you go. Well, okay, so we're talking about, so in my world, again, Namor's starting to start a rift. He's going to try to do a breakaway, a revolution, civil war, whatever. So, and I'll tell you the troops, the minis that I'm using for that. So the Aquaman's crew, they're Sharkmen from minifigs. Those are the troops, and we are using the Tau vehicles as Atlantean vehicles, like tanks and shit. Okay. And then Namor's crew, I'm going to use. I found on Colts. I found a guy. He did. You guys ever play XCOM? Fucking epic game. XCOM. Remember the guy, the troops that had like the bowl head. I found a guy for, I think it was like for $5 or some shit. He did a platoon, like 30 different STLs of those guys with different weapons. So there you go. That's the basis of my Namor cruise stuff. Now, there's a couple guys on Colts that do free Tau vehicles, but they're not quite Tau. They're not like GW copies. It's kind of like their version of the Tau, and it's close enough to look like it's Atlantean technology, but it's not like sanctioned official issue Atlantean kit. So Namor, although Namor's creating his own shit, it looks Tau, like the Tau stuff, but it's not quite there. It's like, not quite there. So that'll be cool. That'll be the divergent armies. So there we go. We got the armies for the two factions in Atlantis. Okay. Buford's Dyke. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm familiar with that one, dude. Enlighten me. That sounds familiar. I don't know. All right, guys. So that was the London Naval Treaty. So we are in, where are we at here? We're in April. Okay, we're gonna do May and June, and then we'll cut it off because I know we've already been doing this for an hour. My voice is starting to crackle. Okay, so let's just go again. We're just going down. We're just checking out, the main events that happened in May. Okay, so on May 6th, we have a Salam's earthquake shakes northwestern Iran and southeastern Turkey with a maximum Mercalli intensity of 9. Violent. Up to 3,000 people are killed. I mean, that's tragedy. I'm not being a dick and saying that's cool that people got killed, but that kind of event, some massive earthquake, that's rife for weird war. Something's waking up, or you got some sort of mission, covert mission by some cultists, or you got like investigators trying to stop a cult, and something happens, and oh, okay. Oh, there you go. That's a good idea. That's cool. I don't think, but the problem with the Atlanteans don't need like surface weapons because their technology is more advanced. But I mean, shit, you think it's selling Irish for some fire water? All right. So that's interesting. So a massive earthquake. Now I haven't read about this one, guys. So heard. Now that would be cool. That could be so nerd, if you're still on board, maybe because you're a big dust girl. Maybe this could be the precursor to the whole like mythos story. The Persia, mythos kind of creation. Maybe the cults were fucking around. Maybe they woke up something. Maybe the avatar of Nyarlathotep, or maybe a star spawn woke up or was summoned in the area and caused the earthquake. Maybe there's like a Persian fucking like superhero that did something, or maybe he's coming in, maybe he's hitting puberty, and like she's like no, and causes giant earthquake, and there you go. You got the creation either of a good guy or a bad guy, superhero from Iran or Turkey. That'd be cool. So that's interesting. I'm gonna write that down. That's definitely worth doing a little bit more investigation and maybe making into some sort of a weird war happenstance. May 6th. You guys, again, if you guys think of anything, just put it in the comments or shoot me an email or something. Big earthquake in Iran. There you go. All right. Oh shit. May 10th, the National Pan-Hellenic Council. What is Greeks or something? Oh no, here we go. The National Pan-Hellenic Council is a collaborative umbrella council composed of historically African American fraternities and sororities, commonly called Divine Nine, and also referred to as Black Greek Letter Organ. There you go. I don't know how we could really make that into a weird war thing, but we'll know. Nurse Ellen Church becomes the world's first flight attendant. Holy shit. There you go, guys. Ellen Church. You guys learn Ellen Church. I actually got her. She's like a nurse, and she convinced, I think, Pan Am or was it Boeing Air Transport that, a nurse being on the flight would be a good idea. Next thing you know, she created the fucking flight attendant. Stewardess, as I like to say. Very cool. Working on Boeing Air Transport Trimotor. That's cool. Here, you guys learn something. Good old Ellen Church. There you go. In it Women's Month or some shit. So there you go. For all you women's out there and lovers of women, which I fucking love women. How they look, how they taste, how they feel, all of it. And that's cool. Mrs. Church. Very good. Let's see. HS, you say the Atlanteans salvaged the British naval weapon, then used it to sink a Dutch freighter, giving plausible deniability to start a world war. Doesn't take much, does it? Why fight the landwalkers when you can get them to do it for you? That's the truth, man. That's a good. So I'm in my brain. There's going to be a point in my timeline where something happens on the surface that affects Atlantis. Basically, something gets sunk and lands in the wrong place on top of an Atlantean important site, and it causes Atlantis to say enough's enough. We're sick of you surface fucking dwellers. The Atlantic is cut off. Boom! Boom! Guess what? The Atlantic is on patrol. The Atlanteans basically say no earth, no surface, dwellers are allowed in our fucking kingdom, which is the whole Atlantic Ocean. They patrol that shit. So any ship, fucking fishing vessel, cargo ship, battleship, the Atlanteans are going to take them down. Who's to say the Atlanteans don't just gobble up the surface islands as well, like England, the British Isles, and fucking shit, Iceland. Maybe they say, hey, fuck it, it's in our world. It's on top of our kingdom. Let's make it our own. There you go. You take Jamaica. There you go. You got a whole new conflict with the Atlanteans doing whatever the fuck they want because they're pretty high tech. I mean, they got Tau weaponry and shit, right? So there you go. You go and get World War II weaponry up against this, Tau kind of shit. And who's to say that they don't have giant sea monsters? I am going to make the Atlanteans. So Aquaman's faction is, I'm going to say, are amphibious. I'm going to say there's going to be like two races of Atlantis. Okay, so I'm going to say the majority of the race Atlanteans are amphibious, right? They can breathe in and out of the water. But then those that aren't, they're like the quote unquote true blood Atlanteans. They can only breathe water, and I'm going to say that's Namor's crew. So hey, what's nothing better than some racism bullshit to start fucking some war in Atlantis where we have Namor pitted against Aquaman and their factions kicking the shit at each other as well as fucking with the surface world. Damn, I fucking love Weird War too. You can just go bonkers. That's it. Hey, the Atlanteans aren't going to put up with the dirty hippies either. They're going to take them out. Like, hey, we love the whales too, but you're in the wrong spot there, Harry. Boom! But yeah, they're chum now. Feed them to their megalodons they got growing down there deep. There you go. That's cool. So so we're talking about Ellen Church. Sweet. All right. So what's next? The Dominican Republic gets a new president. Oh. Okay, so May 17th, the French Prime Minister decides to withdraw the remaining French troops from the Rhineland. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. They should have known better. All right, then we got Amy Johnson, Darwin, Australia. Hey, Adam, if you're listening, become the first woman to fly solo from England to Australia. Oh, shit. She flew 11,000 miles. Pretty far. That's a long flight. She left on May 5th and arrived on May 24th. Woo! That's a hell of a fucking haul. Oh, she's a cutie, too. Amy Johnson was a pioneering English pilot who was the first woman to fly solo from London to Australia. There you go, Adam. You just got your learn on, dude. You're sitting there with the COVID, and you're like, holy shit. Good old fucking Amy Johnson. Never knew. There's something. You can go tell your old lady. You learned something today. All right, June, last month. Okay, we're gonna do it for today. We'll pick this up again. We'll just keep doing this. We'll make this kind of a regular thing. Weirding human history. All right, Carl Gustaf becomes Prime Minister of Sweden. There you go. Ekman. Carl Gustaf Ekman. Have to research some of that. Maybe we can cause some political strife. Maybe we can cause assassination attempt. Maybe we can get something going crazy. Federal Bureau of Narcotics is established in the U.S. Department of Treasury. Here we go. More prudes. And then, last but not least, President Herbert Hoover signs the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act into law, implementing protectionist trade policies in the United States. See, guys, it isn't only the orange head. It's been going on left and right through all of our history. That'll be interesting to read out. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. Sponsored by Senator Reed Smoot and Representative Willis H. Hawley. There you go. I have to read about that. I'm not familiar with that one. Well, there you go, guys. So we did 6 months into 1930. Okay. All right, man. HS is always a pleasure, man. You hang in there, dude. We'll talk to you later. All right, guys. So we did 6 months into 1930, right? Let me go. We're going to recap here. Mission number 1, the Moon Beast raid, perigee. Okay. Number 2, we got the Bai Mutiny campaign. That's going to be fun. I can't wait to do that one. Number 3, we got the Migo assault against good old Clyde in his house in Flagstaff, Arizona. That should be a lot of fun. Then we've got number 4, we got the Chittagong Armory raid. It's Indian commies fighting against British tyranny of India. Number 5, we got that Ohio penitentiary fire in Columbus, Ohio. We need to come up with some cool idea on what the weird mythos shit could be happening there. And then we got number 6, we got the London Naval Treaty raid by Namor's Atlantean crew. And number 7, we got that not cool, but we got that May 6th earthquake, massive earthquake in Iran/Turkey that killed quite a few people. All right, guys, well, there you go. That's an example of how I kind of come to cool ideas, altering history in a bit, try to make it weird, manipulate history in a way that, I can guide it in the way that I want to have some sort of realistic justification instead of just saying, oh, this is how it is. We can actually say, this is why it is. So there you go, guys. Well, it was a pleasure. It was great that everybody came by and said hi. Brian, it's a pleasure. HS, always a pleasure. And Nerd, love you, girl. And we had James swing by from JVC Paints. You guys go check out JVC Paints stuff. It's awesome. This shit is awesome. He's an expat Canadian living in Japan. That's a very unique situation. Doc, thanks for swinging by. Brian, good to see you. I love those emojis, brother. Who else we got? I was raised a poor orc child. Thanks for swinging by, dude. We got, who else we got getting here? We got, everybody go Nerds. Go to her Colts page, a Nerds Nerd. She does lots of STLs for free because she's fucking awesome. We love her for it. We got Shadow and Sun. Good old Shadow. You guys go swing over to Shadow and Sun page or his YouTube channel. Great fun, good times. And also, all you guys go check out Adam at Wargaming China. If you guys are interested in the China pre-Chinese Revolution, warlord, the Chinese warlord era, the Chinese Japanese War, World War II. That's the place to go. He goes super detail and everything, the weaponry, the vehicles, and he's a scratch building madman. He's making shit that no one even knows exists, and we love him for it. And thanks for swinging by, brother. I appreciate it. I think I got everybody here. I don't want to. If I missed you, it's not because and Nick from British Legion. Nick, awesome guy. Go check out his YouTube page. Also, go check out Raven's Facebook page. She is a crazy, awesome chick that digs all sorts of crazy stuff. You guys get a kick out of that. Supernatural. Tiki, I'm glad that you came by, brother. Thanks for swinging by, man. And I'm going through there we go. I think we got everybody. And everybody I didn't mention who didn't make any comments that came by and watched, I appreciate it. We might do this. We might make this a regular thing. We'll go for the next 6 months, 1930. Maybe we can come up with some cool ideas. Maybe give you guys some cool ideas on how to do some weird war. Some if you want to start up an Atlantean army, now you kind of know what I did to make mine. It might give you some inspiration. Maybe you guys have heard some names and some places and some events that you've never heard of before that you want to check out and read more about. There you go. All right, guys. Thanks again for coming by. And whatever you do in this crazy, crazy mixed up world, keep it weird. See you later.